Welcome everyone to the second edition of the London Loves Events video series. My name is Josh Renovic. I'm the Vice President for Business Tourism in North America. And today we're here with Jonny Read of Tobacco Dock. Jonny, before we start, it would be great if you could introduce yourself to everyone.
Sure, Josh. Hi, everyone. My name is Jonny Read. I'm the co-founder and commercial director at Tobacco Dock, which is a very large, unique venue close to Tower Bridge in London.
To me, Tobacco Dock has a rich history of producing and hosting tech events. Why do you think London in general is such an attractor for tech events?
I think London for tech events is a combination of factors. We are world leaders in certain aspects of tech, particularly fintech. So I think that attracts a lot of events from that particular subsector to London anyway. London, indeed, the whole of the UK can rightly call itself world leaders in live communications. We export our skills all over the world. If you look at any major sporting events, opening and closing ceremony, over the last 20 years, they've been produced predominantly by UK live event agencies. And, London has, its great share of that talent. Coupled with, of course, it is an amazing destination. London is an absolute world-class city. It's conveniently located both geographically and from a time zone point of view. And it's a welcoming and easy place under normal circumstances, obviously, to do business. There have been countless examples of, events hosted in London that have moved from other cities, and, the percentage increase in delegates attending because it's in London has been, noticeable, 30%, 40% in some instances.
So I'd love to talk a little bit more about Tobacco Dock specifically. And obviously we're talking about tech and technology. What kind of technologies Tobacco Dock adopted in the most recent months? And if you could tell us a little bit about the whole concept of live from Tobacco Dock, that would be great.
Sure. Well, we realised pretty early on in the COVID crisis that things were going to change for the foreseeable future, and actually we made a fairly bold proclamation that actually we do not believe in purely virtual events. We don't think that the key aspects of a face-to-face happening can be purely replicated in an online environment. So we started investigating in depth with hybrid technology. So the ability, as we're now able to do, and increasingly so over the coming months, of having a combination of a live audience with the benefits of the outreach of the virtual. So we've invested in two, and that's like become three hybrid studios in two spaces at Tobacco Dock. It's got all the technology in terms of 3mm pitch LED video walls and HD camera setups, high def mixing. We've also increased our bandwidth into the building in the last couple of weeks. So we've now got a 10 gigabyte pipe into Tobacco Dock. So that's puts it on par with the most data connectivity of any venue in London. And it is being booked. I think people are recognizing that there is a missing component when you don't have a live audience. It's a bit like a TV show, quite frankly. If you look at a recorded show without a live audience compared with one with, there is part of the experience, the interactivity, the atmosphere of it that is just a bit flat. So, we're getting great traction from that. And, I can see for many months, hopefully not indefinitely, but for many months, people are going to be looking at a hybrid solution where they're inviting a very high level invited live audience and then streaming it out to a mass audience online, or it's an internal audience actually attending the event, but it's going out to external stakeholders, whatever. But that's an initiative that we've grasped, and the take-up has been really strong for it.
No, that's great. It's amazing that you've been able to put so much in place in such a short amount of time to accommodate the new needs that we're facing today. So well done on that. in terms of, technology, it's not so much just about the hybrid events. As you say, they'll be part of what we do, but it won't be a permanent fixture in terms of replacing true live events. But how do you use technology to shape the delegate journey within Tobacco Dock?
I think this is an area that has had huge advances over the last couple of years, and it can now be a completely seamless journey from somebody registering for a particular event, coming to a venue, checking in a contactless way, having an app that's got their whole agenda, their streaming sessions that they're attending on there, speaker biographies, the ability to interact with other delegates, whether to meet them at the event, whether to have a chat function with them. And now we're seeing with the rollout of more virtual exhibition environments as part of events, you've now got whole online worlds in terms of virtual exhibitions that you can interact with in a similar way to you would do at a normal trade show. Mm-hmm. So extraordinary advances in that. It seems to be getting better by the week at the moment in terms of the user experience. And as creatives, as the content producers start gripping this new world, there is more and more valuable contact and interactivity being built into how these events are produced and put together at the moment. Yeah. We've also got some other interesting technology at Tobacco Dock that we rolled out, partly because of COVID, partly because I think it's an interesting thing anyway, which is heat mapping technology. So we can actually trace an individual delegate, as long as they're logged onto our Wi-Fi network, down to half a metre anywhere in the building. And what's more, we can trace exactly who they've come into contact with, who they've interacted. And obviously in a non-COVID world, this is great for any event organizer just to understand the flow of events, the amount of traffic a particular sponsor or exhibition stand or area of an event was receiving, bottlenecks in terms of catering. You can make adjustments as you look at this data in real time to catering points and things like that. But it's obviously in the current situation, it is the ultimate in track and trace. We know from the moment somebody comes into our geo-fenced venue, we know exactly where they go and at what time and who they come into contact with, which we think is a great benefit and just adds to the safety of events in a COVID world.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. It's pretty incredible. You already had the technology, but you can translate it into a real specific need in light of COVID-19 with contact tracing. So that's incredible.
I think confidence is going to be so key going forward, Josh, that there is undoubtedly a pent-up demand that people want to get back together again. But we all know corporate's attitude to risk, and that is entirely understandable in these circumstances. So although we have to absolutely communicate the safety messages, and of course in the events industry we are the absolute experts in health and safety and the protocols that go with it, but it is very much boosting confidence to say it is safe to come and attend an event. Actually, all of these protocols are now in place. We've all got certification by multiple bodies. In some instances, we're now approved by 3 different bodies for our COVID safety measures, and to get people back meeting again.
Yeah, no, it's true, and it's great to see Tobacco Dock embracing all of it and just pushing forward to get us back to events in a safe way. So we're looking forward to that. You obviously are thinking a lot about it and everything that we need to do to come back to live events. So what would you say are the 3 top tips for an event planner that are looking to embrace and adopt technology at their next event?
I think there is a huge, offering out there, different technology solutions for different uses. But, test is one message. Do not use your event as the dress rehearsal for it. Thoroughly investigate it, absolutely rigorously test it for your needs before adopting it. And just be aware that there are lots of different offerings on the face of it in similar spaces, but they have different strengths. Some of the virtual platforms are far stronger in terms of the virtual exhibition side of things, and weaker on things like delegate management and registration and that sort of thing. So think about what the priorities are and assess different options for it. I think the other thing to think about as well is, content is still king. The value in any sort of event, whether it's an in-person event, a virtual event, or a hybrid event, is actually what is being communicated, the content and the richness of the experience of that event. So always put that content and the delegate experience at the heart of what you're doing.
Yeah. So in a way, it's still it's true. It's about that content and catering to it. The attendees need to make them want to come back year after year.
Absolutely.
Yep. I really appreciate your time, but before we finish up, I have to ask you, why does London love events?
I think it's a whole combination of things. As I said earlier, there is no city like London on the planet. It's an extraordinary combination of the best in terms of events professionals, but then you have, London as your canvas. You have got history, you've got heritage, you have got the arts, you've got the ultra modern, you have got, such an extraordinary city on which to put your interpretation of how you bring your own events and brand to life in it. Just amazing. And, we are such a passionate events industry in the UK, and, we love what we do, and we love the fact that London is so truly international. We attract people from all over the world to attend events in London, and, we're a multicultural city anyway, but embracing those visitors, extending our hospitality and our expertise and our creativity is just a joy.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could have put it better. I think you hit the nail on the head. Jonny, thank you so much for your time. It's easy for me to say that you and your team in Tobacco Dock really embody the ethos of why London for global events, and I can't thank you enough for your time.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Josh.